president of the Arizona Libertarian Party here to speak a little bit about liberty and peace. I'd like to hear a little bit of applause for Hess. Thank you.
This is always odd to come to a college campus when we see a lot of students who really don't know what this is all about. And that's unfortunate. You have a group here called the what is it? Young Americans for Liberty. I didn't want to confuse it with Young Americans for Freedom. But in any event, back when I was in college, it was a little different story, but it was the same story. How many people here are involved in the war on terror? Anyone? How many people are looking forward to being deployed to another country to go kill people in wars where there's no freedom to be won, there's no heroes to be made, and there's only loss and devastation in its wake? How many people? You may not think that you're involved in this war on terror or this war on oil is what it really comes down to, but you are. Every single one of you will be involved whether you like it or not. You're here. And that's important. It's unfortunate that so many of us don't realize there are other things going on other than studying for midterms or getting ready for grades, trying to plan our lives. I can tell you from my experiences, no matter what you're planning for your life, it is not going to work out that way. But that's okay. It usually can work out better. Today we want to talk a little bit about why do we have our troops, our servicemen, your fellow students in many cases, who are over in ditches dying in a desert where there's nothing to be gained except for the political powers. Only the political powers will possibly profit from any of this. And you can go home and suffer with your injuries or the deaths of family members and try to placate yourself and act like something good happened there. Nothing good is happening in the Mideast. And I can tell you from my travels as a young man back in the 1970s, where I was welcomed with open arms because I was from this mythical place where people were actually free. They called it America. That's not the case anymore. When George Bush tried to sell us on the notion that they hate us for our freedom, I had to laugh. Because certainly at this point everybody would have to agree, now they should love us and be wrapping their arms and legs around us, don't you think? We've lost so much without even looking. So many of those basic fundamental rights, one of which is expressed in our First Amendment, and that's why we're here today, to try not to sway you anyway, but to urge you to look a little deeper. It is worth your time. Easily worth any time that you would spend on any course that you could possibly take here at ASU. It's your life. This is life studies, for crying out loud. And what we need to do is rely on you, because you are going to be the only possibility for bringing back what we all knew as America. You are, your generation. It's up to your generation to tell my generation to piss off when they come to take 60 to 70% of everything you earn in the marketplace before you can go home and support your own families. Think about that. You've become a participant. You've become a funding agent. And that's all it is. That's where these taxes take you. So if you don't care, well, that's all right, I suppose. But you will suffer the consequences. Because ignorance is not bliss. And what you don't know will hurt you. So it's important to find out about those greater struggles that are going on in our lives and in our country that are so much bigger than whether or not you got an A+ or an A in any kind of course that you could take in college. So let's talk a little bit about that. The drone program. Does anybody know anything about drones? Have you heard the word before? Anyone? Drones are kind of an interesting thing because I'm an RC modeler, a radio control modeler. I fly airplanes around and helicopters and whatnot, and they're interesting because some of them have cameras on them and I can get some great footage. But you know what? They've been used to a more devastating impact. They're being used to kill